Thanks, Chris. Okay, the Green Building Council was launched in Australia in October 2002. It's based on a model first out of the States in about 1993. There's now about 11 Green Building Councils internationally and a World Green Building Council as a peak body that forms the interaction point for all those Green Building Councils. We're a not-for-profit group. We like to think we're led by industry and supported by government. The reality is we sit sort of somewhere in the space in between those areas of activity. One of our objectives when we launched was to develop a common language and measuring stick for what constitutes a green building, and to that end we launched a rating system called Green Star in 2003. That rating system initially focused on office buildings as the key area in the commercial sector, at least, as the one building type that has the highest energy consumption, but since that time we've gone on to expand the range of tools across other building types and into other phases of the building life cycle. We've now got, as of this week, I think around about 400 projects registered for certification under the Green Star rating system. So there's been an exponential growth in the last 12 months, which just confirms the sort of things that Chris was saying earlier about the heightened area of activity in this. I mean, if you look back a year ago, I think we had something like 100 projects registered, and now that's gone up to 400. A similar sort of story can be told about growth in our membership. The framework is still evolving. In the future, we hope to have tools to cover industrial buildings, public buildings, mixed-use facilities, broader scale precincts, and potentially community development as well. One of the other areas of activity that we're strongly involved in is advocacy. I guess we live in a market-based economy, and if we want to make things happen, it's important for us to be able to demonstrate there's value associated with that sort of activity. Obviously, value comes in many different forms. What we're doing is undertaking a range of research activities at the moment in order to continue to build the business case and support our advocacy agenda. We're involved in projects that are looking at the effects of green buildings on property valuation, analysing the costs of green buildings that have been constructed to date to look at how they compare to the general market, so we can actually build that case to show that green buildings actually do make sense. And that diagram there is a much more macro view of the built environment compared to other areas of endeavour that came out of one of the recent IPCC reports, which shows under a range of carbon scenarios that there's a lot of opportunity to mitigate carbon dioxide in the built environment. In fact, it's bigger than a lot of the other major sectors put together. We're involved in advocating solutions at all levels of government, and next week we'll be running Built Environment Meets Parliament along with the Institute of Architects, Property Council and PIA Planning Institute up in Canberra. And finally, I guess we recognise that the industry really is starting to get on board with green building, but we all realise that this is really only the beginning of the journey. We need to continue to present fresh challenges to the industry in a way that we don't lose them. That's critical for us. So, sure, we can present very large stretch targets, but if we lose the industry in the process, then we've lost what we're trying to do as well. So in order to do this, we need to be constantly evolving our vision of what a sustainable future might look like, and to that end we get involved in activities such as our annual Green Cities Conference. We're also developing one of the streams for next year's World Sustainable Buildings Conference to be held in Melbourne in September, and we're involved in a range of other activities including the Clinton Climate Initiative and United Nations Environment Programme, Sustainable Buildings and Construction Initiative. Thank you.